a little something more. I've got a plan in mind, a special thing in store. The light bulb inside my head says, get out and play, 'cause you never feel this way. It's my lucky day, it's my lucky day. It's my lucky day, my lucky day. Don't need a pot of gold, a rabbit's foot or to be told. It's my lucky day, it's my lucky day.
Hello, welcome. I am so glad you are here. I'm so glad to be here. This is my very first live stream, so we'll see how it goes tonight. So if you would drop a comment in the chat, let me know that you're here. I'm really excited to chat with you about journaling a little bit. Oh, Jen, thanks so much. Cool intro. I made it myself. My friend Chris Hennessy gave me kind of the rundown of all things live stream and showed me how to make these cool things. So yeah, I thought the song was pretty catchy. Perfect. Oh, Carrie's here. Val's here. So nice that you're here. Thank you for letting me know that you are here. So as we get started, as we wait for folks to get settled, have you journaled yet today? If not, here is your chance. If you have something to write with nearby, grab your journal, a piece of paper, the back of an envelope, open a Google Doc. Here is your journal prompt for today. It is one of my favorites, and it is, what can you celebrate today? So think about it, write about it for a minute, drop your answer in the chat. I'd love to hear what you were celebrating. Yeah, and Brian says, Chris is awesome. He is awesome. Really appreciate Chris. Yeah, he is definitely the live stream guy. I took his boot camp, so if you are thinking about doing it, totally do it. Chris makes live streaming seem so easy. Made me feel confident that I could do it. So if you are on the fence, totally give it a go. Yeah, so what are you celebrating today? I am celebrating getting a new French press. I'm not a coffee drinker at all. My husband is, I'm not. But I discovered brewing cacao, and I don't know if any of you are into that at all, or if you've tried it. It's not like hot cocoa because it's not sugary and full of milk. It's just pure cacao that you brew like coffee. Knocked my socks off. I added a splash of half and half. So good. So that is what I'm celebrating today. My friend Carrie says Tuesday's no obligation day. She celebrate that every week. Yes, I love it. And I'd love to hear, Carrie, I can guess what no obligation day means. But I would love to know specifically for you what no obligation day means. Love it. Ooh, Sherry's here. I love it. Sherry is celebrating. She tuned in for 2 minutes before chaos ensues. Oh, thank you, Sherry. I hope the chaos is as minimally chaotic as possible. Life happens. Chaos happens, and if anyone can put a smile on their face and find their best way through it, it is totally you, my friend. Thank you for being here. So, who am I? Why am I here? Why am I taking up your time today? Great questions. So my name is Amanda Stern. My friends on LinkedIn know me because I talk about journaling. I talk about journaling all the time, every day, as often as possible. I'm also streaming today on YouTube, which is new for me. I'm streaming on Facebook for my mom. So Mom, if you're watching, hello, hi, put a comment in the chat. Let me know you're here. You can figure it out. I believe in you. So I absolutely love I love the idea of getting to share journaling in all kinds of ways, including this. And I thought this would be a fun way to share a little bit more about me and the magic journaling works in my life. Got some great celebrations, celebrating being featured on a LinkedIn Live. Oh, that's awesome, Susanna. Um, I totally want to hear more about this. I definitely want to tune in. And then Brian is celebrating a great conversation with a friend that he haven't talked with in a while. Isn't that the best? It's like the best to talk to friends. So, those of you who've been around for like a minute or have seen anything of mine will recognize this phrase. And it's good things come to those who journal. I totally love it. I totally believe that it's true. And I want to share a snippet of my story with you and how I know that good things come to those who journal. I know it because I've lived it. I always tell how I discovered journaling when I was an angsty teenager. It was back in the 90s. I remember having this really hard day, and none of my friends could come to the phone. And that was way back in the day when people had to come to the phone. And I remember being really angsty about something. And I didn't know what to do. So I found a notebook, an old spiral bound notebook, and a mechanical pencil. And I just started to write. And I wrote for a really long time. And when I was done, I remember feeling better. I can't tell you what I wrote, but I remember that feeling of being lighter. And I liked it. And I liked it so much that I picked up my journal again the next night and again the next night and again the next night after that. And before I knew it, I had this really robust journaling practice. And it was really cool because this was time I set aside just for me to think and reflect and to capture my day. And back in those days, my journaling was very much a record of my life. I would detail it in painstaking detail from the moment I got up to the moment I went to bed. So it was, I was up at 6 and I took a shower and I had toast with cream cheese for breakfast. And here's what I wore to school. And here's what time I got to school. Here's who I talked to in the hallways. Here's the cute boy that I thought was looking at me, right? So in painstaking detail. And it's so cool to have this record of that period of my life. And I journaled like that through high school. I journaled like that through college. And then I got married and I had a baby and another baby and then a third baby. And I found I didn't journal quite as much. And I had every excuse, right? I was tired. I was busy. I really did think I was going to remember all of those cute and wonderful things my children did. My mom told me to write them down. I didn't listen. I should have listened. She's a smart lady. And I really don't remember a lot. The things that I wrote down are the things that I remember. But not only that, I also missed out on a whole lot of opportunities to get to know myself, to learn who I was and what I liked and what I needed to be happy and what I could contribute to the world. And it all came to a head about 8 years ago. Some of you may have heard this story before. Life was going on fine, I thought, until one day my then husband came home and dropped the bomb on me that he thought he'd be happier not being married to me. And where do you go from that, right? And I knew that night I had a choice to make. I could either allow myself to spiral into negativity, or I could reach out and grab hold of every good thing that came my way. And that is what I decided. That's where I started. And I started with my journal. And that very night, I forced myself to write what I was grateful for. And I will tell you, it was really hard. And I did not feel very grateful for much in that moment. But I came up with 8 things. And I thought, if I can be grateful for 8 things on this hardest day of my life, I'm really going to be okay. And I was. I wrote my way um, to the life I wanted. I wrote my way into who I was. I discovered that. I wrote my way through through my divorce, I wrote my way into discovering who I was, what made me special, what I liked, what I wanted, how I wanted to grow. And along the way, I kept finding way after way after way to use my journaling. And it was magical and powerful. And that's why I'm so excited to talk about journaling, because I know firsthand the magic that it can work in our lives. So I would love to know, those of you watching, are you a journaler? Do you journal? Have you tried it? Do you love it? Is it hard for you? Do you journal sometimes? What kind of journaling do you do? That's a whole bunch of questions I just threw at you. I'm going to take a sip of water and think about it. Yeah. And if you do journal, what do you love about it? What does it do for you? So I love the magic of feeling better when I journal, of feeling lighter, like I talked earlier. My friend Jen journals at least 5 times a week. Awesome. Oh, that's so great. And Brian is here. He says, most days I journal. I love it. Yeah, journaling for me is always a way to show up for myself, to give myself an opportunity to sit with my thoughts. I find I have 2 speeds, and they are rabbit and stop, which means I go, 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 go until I stop, which usually means I fall asleep. My kids know not to ask me anything once I sit down on the couch because, you know, I just am not going to give a coherent answer most of the time. But I find that journaling slows me down long enough to catch up with my racing thoughts. It's a little bit of oh, what's that word? Mm, the word that means uh, it sounds counterintuitive. Um, Maybe that's the word I'm thinking of. Brian says he's able to process his thoughts and get them out of his head. Yes, I love this. Clarity comes as we write for many, many of us. And Carrie says she journals most days after meditation, and it helps her get clear on what's on her mind. Sometimes she doesn't notice until she writes it down. Yeah, magic happens when we write. Um, and it's this really cool thing. Magic is the only word I have for it, where we put pen to paper and all of a sudden, like, our secrets come out. Not really our secrets. That sounds kind of scary, but like the things that are deep inside us that we don't usually give ourselves a chance to see. Um, Jen says, a collection of ideas, tracking habits, lists of people and places, reflection or constructive questions to process therapy or coaching insights. Yes, so many beautiful ways, Jen, that you're using your journal. I love to see it. I always find that journaling is so great for helping me find clarity, for helping me find direction, to find solutions to problems that I have. Um, Oh, I love it. Try to journal daily. Awesome. And getting our thoughts out so we don't lose them. Yes. How many times have you had a thought pop into your head or a memory? I will tell you, one day I walked into the kitchen and my son was a teenager at the time, and he was spreading cream cheese on a bagel, like a pretty normal thing to have happen at our house. But I looked at the cream cheese tub. He had taken himself to the store. He bought the same brand of cream cheese that my grandmother used to have. She's the only person in the world I knew who ate that kind of cream cheese. And when I was a kid, she used to sit me down at the kitchen table and she would spread this cream cheese on saltine crackers for me. And I remembered thinking it was like the best snack, right? And I haven't thought about it in years, but just seeing my son spreading cream cheese on a bagel brought all of that back to mind. And then I was able to capture that memory in my journal so I didn't lose it again. So I love being able to capture my stories. I love using my journal to understand my feelings, to gain a better feelings vocabulary, because when I can identify what I am feeling, whether it's sad or disappointed or mad or joyful or whatever the feeling is, then I can identify what I need so I can either continue to feel that way or I can change how I'm feeling. And the better I can articulate how I'm feeling, the better I can ask for help. It is something I did not expect with all of this journaling. Love using journaling to track my progress toward goals that I set for myself. And I think probably right now, what I love most is that journaling has connected me to so many wonderful people. I'm just beyond grateful for the community that I found and built here, specifically on LinkedIn, but in other places too. Really grateful for everybody who comes out and shares. So grateful for those of you who are here with me tonight. Um, so as we move forward, I really want to continue to shed light on what journaling is, how you can make it work for you, how you can find a way that feels really good to you. Because I talk to people all the time who just they're so embarrassed. They're like, I don't really get it. Or like, I've heard that journaling is important, but I've tried it and it just doesn't do anything for me. Um, I always say if you ask 100 people what journaling is, you will get 100 different answers. A lot of people will say, oh, I don't do journaling, right? Based on certain definitions, because some people think, oh, journaling is just for teenage girls, right? Keeping a diary. Anyone here ever think that or heard someone say it? Right? Or, oh, journaling's all about feelings. Ooh, I don't want to talk about my feelings. Or people who think, oh, well, journaling is for a specific purpose. It's that thing I do at the end of my workday when I sit down and reflect on what went well and what I'm going to do differently tomorrow. Um, Right, journaling can be so many things. It can look so many different ways. I always think of journaling as the best way to show up for myself, to be able to give myself an opportunity to sit and reflect, to really um, to really look inward, to find those answers I'm seeking, to ask myself questions and listen for the answers inside me, because we are all so much smarter than we give ourselves credit for. And we know our bodies, our minds, all of us, we just know so much. And it's hard to listen to it sometimes in the hustle and bustle of the day and of life. And having a space where we can really sit and listen just is so meaningful. Um, it's funny because I absolutely love when I talk to people who swear that they don't journal, but they do a lot of things that are very similar to journaling. Like a friend of mine, again, swears up and down he doesn't journal, but he has a notebook he writes in every morning. And one day I asked him, "Oh, well, what do you do? What is that notebook?" And he's like, "Oh, well, that's just how I sit and plan my day." And so I pried a little bit. And he's like, well, I write the things that I'm looking forward to, and I'm writing the things that I want to make happen. And I'm thinking about, all of the beautiful things that I'm going to do, going to do today or this weekend. And it cracks me up because I'm like, hey, my friend, this is journaling. You're a journaler. But because he had this different idea in his head of what journaling is, right? He wasn't able to embrace that until I had pointed it out to him. It cracks me up every time. So if you keep a record of your day, if you set intentions for how you want your day to go, if you have a gratitude practice, if you schedule your day, right? If you spend time in the morning looking at where you need to be, when you need to be there, and how you're going to prepare yourself to show up, you're probably a journaler, right? So, whether you are looking to do a deep exploration of your feelings and the stuff you've got going on deep inside, or whether you take a beautiful vacation and you want to capture all of the moments. It's funny, I was scrolling through LinkedIn one day, and a connection of mine was talking about how he keeps a Google Doc for the vacations he goes on, and he makes sure he captures the places he went and the people he talked to and the foods he ate. And he also keeps a separate Google Doc for all of the things, his accomplishments at work. And it's, I kind of laughed and I was like, oh, this sounds very much like what I do in my journal. And he's like, oh, I've never thought about it as journaling. Right? Journaling doesn't have to actually just be journaling. I mean, I do my journaling in a journal, a hardbound book. It's nothing fancy. It's just got blank lined pages. You can use a very simple notebook. You can use a composition book, right? Whatever you're going to use, having a place to keep all of that is super important. Yeah, treat calendar management as journaling. Okay, some people may argue with me here, Jen. I do my calendaring as part of my journaling. If I did it just by itself, I probably wouldn't call it journaling, but done in conjunction with some of those other things, I totally consider it part of journaling. So, any questions? Anyone here with any burning journaling questions? I, I talk to my mom sometimes about this, and she's like, "People have questions about journaling. Like, they're really interested in what you have to say." And I was like, "Yeah, well, I think so." Um, so, I would love to hear if you have any that I could answer for you. But while I give you a minute to think and put them in the comments, wait for them to populate, I thought I would share a snippet from my journal. This is a journal that I kept a couple of years ago. Isn't this lovely? It's got the Eiffel Tower on it. It's kind of foilish. I picked it up for my daughter for Christmas and then forgot that I had bought it for her, and it sat in the trunk of my car. And so I finally decided I would use it. But kind of opened it up at random because I thought it would be really fun to share just what my journaling looks like. So I will show you, this is kind of what every page looks like. It is not fancy. Nowadays I write with a black ink pen. This is blue. But this particular question, this prompt that I used that day was, what would I say to my childhood self? And I won't read all of this, but I'll just read a couple snippets that I love. What would I say to my childhood self? I would say, wait. Be willing to work hard, but also to wait for the right opportunities to come. You don't need to jump on the first decent thing to come along. If you're patient, the best thing will present itself to you. I really wish this is something that I had known when I was younger. And then this, be kind to yourself and take good care of your body. Feed it well. Move it with joy and gratitude. Get enough sleep. Appreciate what it does for you. Have the right amount of good sex and enjoy it. Appreciate and give hugs and kisses and other physical affection in the right doses to the people who matter. Surround yourself with people who matter. Show them what they mean to you. Don't worry about what everyone else thinks. You're capable of doing great things, but it's okay if you don't. You can do small things with great love and joy. This just came out of me one day, and it is magical to see what comes up. I don't think I knew that was there until I saw it. And actually, I haven't revisited it. This was 2 years ago that I wrote it, a little over 2 years. And I love being able to go back and learn from old me and just be able to benchmark where I am now, to see how much I've grown, to see what I've learned, because I finally have learned some of that and gotten it down, which feels really good. My childhood me is really happy to be in this place right now. All right, so Carrie asks, what is my favorite journal prompt? Oh my gosh, I have so many. One of my favorites is the one I started with this the beginning of this session, which is, what can I celebrate today? My friend Miriam, who is here, will tell you that is, I've thrown that at her so many times. Right now, I am using 6 journal prompts every morning. This is my one sheeter, and I've shared it before. I can talk about it later. But I'm using 6 questions every morning to really set my intentions for the day. And they're all focused on my word of the year, which is nourish. Um, oh, nice. People are writing about friends on LinkedIn. Oh, that's great. And Jen asks, how do I choose them? These I made up based on my theme, but I'm asking myself, what will I do to feel nourished at home? Because nourished is my theme. How will I make living in my body a more pleasurable experience? How will I demonstrate love for myself? How will I nourish my relationship with money? How will I manage my energy today? And who do I need to connect with today? Those are my favorite ones right now because I'm using them every morning this year to really, again, set my intentions for the day. How do I choose them? Oh, great question. Sometimes, Jen, I find journal prompts. I don't know. I just come up with them. Usually, I sit down and start with, how am I feeling? What's coming up? Sometimes I pre-plan a prompt, kind of like I would pre-plan a workout. And usually it's something I just stumble across. I mean, a journal prompt is just something to write about. So we have a place to start. We're not starting with a blank page because I know that can be really daunting to a lot of people. But yeah, the more I journal, the better I get at choosing journal prompts for myself and coming up with journal prompts that really speak to what I need. And that's what I really try to do. I try to listen to what I need and then be able to use a journal prompt that's going to really speak to it. If I'm feeling nervous or anxious about something, I use a prompt that'll kind of pick through that. If I'm feeling really pleased, I want to record those great things that are going on. Yeah, great question. How often do I go back and reread my older journals? I don't do it very often. Usually I go back and reread them if there's something specific that I'm looking for. I don't know. A lot of times, just being able to write them out gets the job done, and I don't need to go back. Other passages I flag and go to over and over and over again. But yeah, that is a great question. I know that wasn't a super specific and great answer, but yeah, as often as I feel I need to. Yeah. So, my friends, that pretty much brings us to time. I am so grateful that you came to spend some of your time with me this evening. Really happy you are here. Please know I am here to answer all of your journaling questions. You know where to find me on LinkedIn. Would love it if you if anyone wanted to subscribe to my newsletter. I do have a newsletter. It goes out every Monday morning. I've been at it now for 53 weeks, more than a year. So if that is your jam, if you want to have journaling resources and inspiration and lots of prompts delivered to your inbox every Monday morning at 7:35 a.m., subscribe there. And my friends, I look forward to seeing you next week. I've got some really fun stuff in store, and happy journaling, my friends. See you next time.
It's my lucky day. It's my lucky day.